Laurel here. Happy day before Thanksgiving, and thanks for joining me for another video. I didn't plan on making a video today. Like, I used to kind of schedule them in the early days. I was like, oh, a week went by, but now it's more like when stuff comes up, and the really cool thing about that is I feel like more and more stuff is coming up in my life to talk about, so that's pretty cool. I wanted to talk today about just a small, tiny little event, but a significant event that really touched me and just really made me think of my connection with the divine and with the providence and the results of some of this work. So today we were working. We've been under like a lot of stress, just to kind of back up a little bit. Yesterday was a bad day, and it was really a challenge day for me and like maintaining my energy at a high level. So a few days ago, we had our water heater go out, okay? And it was actually, I think, 4 or 5 days ago. And it's actually not a big deal. We're in Florida. It's nice here. That's fine. But it's kind of an inconvenience, right? So I fixed our water heater about 1.5 years ago when it went out. Like, I bought an element, put it in, no big deal, and it was fine. I didn't want to have to buy a new one. So I was like, well, I don't know if that's the case. Like, I tried to troubleshoot it. The heater wasn't rating right. The element looked like it was dead. So I was like, well, let me try. So I ordered another element, and it came in yesterday. And I was like, great. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. Everything will be fine. Hopefully we'll have some hot water again, because we've been literally like heating up water like on a big pot on the stove. And that's what we've been doing because we got a shower. So it came in. I put it in the hot water heater, drained everything, got all the tools out, did all that. And we fired it up and it didn't work. For me, like, I really like working with my hands, but it really, like, nothing just devastates me more than a project that I try to work with my hands. I think I know how to do it, and I fall flat on my face, and I don't. It gets me really frustrated, and it just gets me in a low energy state. And so I was contending with that. And after we had done everything, after we realized, like, the element that I installed wasn't working, like, I lost the screw to the cover to the hot water heater, and I just kind of, like, lay down in the dirt. And I remember, like, I had my head down, I was just staring at the dirt, and I was aware of the challenge, and I was aware that I needed to keep my energy high, but I just couldn't help but feel like, just feel dysfunctional, feel like broke, feel frustrated that we're both like working hard, and we're just kind of like, we've been in this like dry spell of like barely making it. We can't afford to hire somebody to replace a hot water heater right now. That's why we don't have hot water, just to be honest with you guys. And I was contending with a lot of unworthiness issues yesterday, a lot of frustration, a lot of victimization, and woe is me. And I kind of did well, and sometimes I kind of didn't. Like, sometimes it would come in waves where I was able to overcome it, and sometimes it would overcome me, and I would be defeated, and I would feel unworthy and just all the negative emotions. So that happened, and on top of that, I had some frustrations with the team that I'm trying to build for this project that came in. I talk about it in the video over here. There's a project that came in that's pretty exciting, that came in a really interesting, divine way to me. And I'm trying to build a team together. It's a holiday season, and people are out of town. It's sort of like a highbrow project. It's like the most I've ever been on at my company. And I'm just trying to hustle and get everything done, and nobody's answering. And so that was frustrating too. So I had two things that were really kind of bringing down like my energy and my state of being. And I was aware of it, at least. So I was like trying to like battle it. I felt like I was battling dragons. And excuse me, eventually my husband and I ended up going out that evening, and we had a really nice time out, like downtown near where we live, and it kind of brought our energy back up. So that was yesterday. And one thing that Dr. Joe says that I really like is, he said at the end of each day, he tries to do a day review. So he'll ask himself, what did I do well today? And then he'll ask himself, what could I improve on? What didn't I do so great on? And for me, I try to be aware and to do that. I did better, I think, than I've done in the past. I didn't like get in a rage of depression or anything, but I think I also could have done better in maintaining elevated states and keeping my emotions high, and reminding myself that I'm a creator. I'm going to get through this, that I am worthy, and that I am attracting abundance to my life. I might not feel it right now, but I'm attracting abundance to my life. So anyway, that was yesterday. That's done. Today, I'm like working on getting this huge proposal out for my company. It's a big deal, and it's funny because I had a call with my team, and we actually had a great discussion and really great vibes and great energy. So that was kind of resolved. And I'm doing my thing. I'm getting this proposal out. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Then my husband comes out, and he just like is stone-faced. He looks like really like sad and down. He comes out and he says that a software product that we use, we're both engineers and we use AutoCAD. He says that AutoCAD's frozen. And for us, that's like a carpenter not having a hammer. Or like, you know, whenever carpenters use a saw, we can't work. We can't work without it. And so I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm like so close. I've been working on this proposal for days, but I'm like, no, let me help him. He needs it. So he's looking at it. I'm looking at it. There's this weird thing going on in the cloud. We're looking at, like, I installed a newer version of CAD. We're looking at like all these internet troubleshooting documents, like 8 different options that talk about like proxies and updating your registry and all this stuff that's just over our head. Like, we don't do IT. So we were like, well, I don't know what to do. And I'm thinking about, well, should we get an alternate software? Should we talk to one of our friends that has CAD? Like, what do we do? And we didn't know. We just were up against a wall, and we were like, well, I don't know, because the thing is, he's under a lot of deadlines right now. He's under a ton of stress, and he has clients that are mad, and it's like the day before Thanksgiving, and everybody wants everything yesterday, and he's dealing with it really well, but this did not help, like, right before Thanksgiving. So we called the Autodesk, the supplier of the software, and they actually were closed, and we were like, no, we really need this. So we said, well, let's just take it step by step, one step at a time. And I think that's kind of being in the present moment, like Dr. Dispenza talks about. So I was like, babe, I'm going to go here. I'm going to install a newer version and see if it works. And in the meantime, why don't you go pick up some stuff? He had to get some plans that he was working on. So he went to the repro shop, got some plans. And it was about this time span of maybe 30 minutes. So I'm sitting at my desk. I install the new version, and, you know, and it works. I'm like, okay, great. But he doesn't really, like, he's not too happy about the new version because he doesn't know it. He knows, like, the 2019 version. So, but I tell him, I'm like, hey, yeah, it's installed. It's a workaround. It's a trial version. This is literally just 30 minutes. No intervention, nothing else. But, oh, I have to say, 30 minutes passed, and the one thing I did do was, when he was gone, I felt so bad for him, you guys. Like, he's really up against the wall with his clients. He has a ton of stress, and he earns most of our money right now, so he's under a lot of pressure. When he left, I sat down on the couch, and I reminded myself, instead of yesterday in my review freaking out and feeling ungrateful and feeling alone and feeling victimized and feeling unworthy, I reminded myself that I am a creator and I'm going to create a better situation. So I sat down and I really felt in my heart, like I just closed my eyes. I didn't do the body space. I didn't do anything to get me into the field per se, but I just closed my eyes and I felt just heart-centered love for my husband. I sent him love, and I sent him peace, and I sent him a solution, and I sent him just having this done, having a resolution to this problem. And I let it go. And I was like, well, that's all I can do, so let me get back to this proposal. So I'm doing my thing. My husband comes back, and mind you, it's just 30 minutes time span. He comes back, and he goes into his office, and he sits down, and he comes back out. He's like, you wouldn't believe it. And I was like, what? And he said, it's working fine. It was working fine in that 30-minute time span. And he said, what did you do? He said, did you do anything? And I said, no. And then I said, yeah, I did. I sat down on the couch, and I sent you intense love from my heart, and I visualized solutions, you know? And here it is. And it just was such, like, for us, it's a huge victory because, like, he's really under a lot of pressure. Now he can continue his work. He can get the deadlines. We can hopefully have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. But it just was a funny little thing. And sure, you know, you could explain it away. I'm sure somebody could say, well, the data center just happened to be up at the right time. It's a big coincidence. Fine, that's fine. But all I know is I sat down, I opened up my heart, and I visualized solutions. And in the 30-minute time span that he came back, everything was fine. And to me, it just meant so much. I started crying. I was just, like, so moved with emotions. And sometimes I think it's the little victories that really matter and really mean a lot in our journey. And I just wanted to share it because it's just, I thought it was fabulous. I thought it was really cool. So as always, if you have anything that's similar, any kind of similar stories of like being in a bind and, you know, the divine brings you a solution, I would really love to hear. Feel free to drop them in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for sharing this story with me and sharing in my journey. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving.